Hello everyone and welcome to the Student Devotional. My name is Becca. I am the student pastor here in Hope City, Sheffield. And today we are joined by students from Liverpool, Newcastle, as well as Sheffield. We've also got the student pastors, DL Dubs, aka Daniel from Newcastle. And we've also got Hannah, the student pastors in Liverpool. So how are you guys and what have you guys been up to during Freshers Week this week?
I'm good. It's been a good week. Freshers Week, it's always like mad busy, isn't it? But we've had a good week. We had a quiz night. We've had a tour of Liverpool and hidden gems. And we've put up posters all about the city with QR codes you can scan to win some goodies. So it's been a good week so far.
It sounds like you got it easy compared to us because we're in lockdown. We're in local lockdown up in the northeast at the moment. So we've had to tweak a few things, but we've had a good week as well this week. We've had Bonkers Bingo on Monday, which was our sort of Christian version of Bongos Bingo, if you've ever heard of it. A lot more of a Christian, tamer, cleaner version, if you know what it is. We've had pub quiz, online dinner parties, and we've still got a few more events to come as well, which is good, but we're doing good. We're doing well up in Newcastle and Sunderland.
Yeah. So we're joined by some other different students from different locations today. So if you guys would want to introduce yourselves, let us know your names and what it is you study, where you're from. I think we'll start with the Newcastle students. Do you want to kick us off?
Will I go first?
Go for it.
Okay, my name is Sophie. I'm originally from Hull and now I'm studying in Newcastle and I study forensic science and I'm in my 4th year.
Wow, that's a cool degree, forensic science.
People say that and you do it, it's like a bit more boring than people think. It's not like CSI at all. Like which is sad.
Very nice.
Rico, what is your name?
My name is Rico. Yeah, I didn't really know that. Yeah, so I'm actually based in Durham in the northeast. I'm doing a PhD in biosciences. Yeah, and I'm 26 of age. Yeah, and that's me.
Gosh, they make them smart in the northeast. Those are some intense degrees.
Right.
Yeah.
My name's Becky and I studied psychology at Hallam. It was probably 3 years ago now, but I'm just here just trying to pretend that I'm still young. So
hello, I'm Favor. I am 25 years old. I'm doing my PhD in oncology at the University of Sheffield.
But that's really, really cool. Where is everyone from originally? Where were you before where you were for university? Sophie, tell us the lovely place where you're from.
I'm from Hull, best place on the planet. City of Culture 2017, would recommend visiting. I mean, if you're in the northeast, Hull's not locked down at least. So that's a good thing.
That is a good perk.
On the tourist board there. Where are you from? Where were you before Durham?
Yeah, before Durham, I was actually in Liverpool. So yeah, I was actually in Hope City, Liverpool when I was in doing my masters. And then before that, when I was doing my undergraduate, I was actually in Canterbury, Kent.
Wow.
So yeah.
Becky, how about you? Where were you before Sheffield?
I'm originally from Birmingham.
How about you, Favor?
Yeah, so I was basically brought up in Italy. My background is Nigerian.
Yeah, nice. Very good. Well, we've got a few questions to get into the brief and help our freshers out and the students who are in our cities. So I think, Becca, you've got question 1, haven't you?
Yes, we're going to get some questions in, all right? Okay, so I'm going to shoot this out to Becky and then Rico, you can go ahead and answer after Becky. So if you could go back in time into your first year, what would you tell yourself?
Goodness me, I would say quite a few things, but I'll just give you one for now. I think I would say just do as many things as possible. When I was in first year, I joined, I think, one society, it's really fun. But I think you're never going to have a time in your life again where you can do so many random things, meet so many random people. To just have a little go at everything and see what you like doing the best.
That's good advice.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, myself, actually, kind of in the same line. I'll tell myself to be more confident on myself. So I try and go out more. I try and go out and meet new people. And just socialize a bit more, I guess, for me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
When I was in first year, I joined a society where you went and made friends with nuns in the community. That was the weirdest one. But they weren't like lonely old people. I think they like, it was really weird society. They had like full lives. I think we were actually a bit of a hindrance to them, coming around for tea every week.
I joined the UNICEF Society in
The
first
what?
year. The UNICEF Society.
UNICEF.
Yeah.
That's quite a good one.
It was a good one. I only went to one meeting, but I joined the society, so
Paid the fee. That's all they're after.
I did pay the fee.
Okay, I've got our next question. So this one I'm going to ask to Favour and then shoot over to Sophie. What is your best memory from uni so far?
Oh yeah, my best memory of uni is having homemade jam. So basically, my friend had this grandma who basically made jam herself, and it was like the best thing ever. So we would basically meet in the afternoon. So basically study together and then have the jam with crisp bread. So it was very nice.
Wait, what flavour are we talking? Because this is important.
So basically, there were so many different flavors. Sometimes peaches, other times apples. Like the most like creative jam like you could ever have. Yeah.
Living life on the one side, Favour.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So you had quite a wild uni experience then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sophie, what about you?
I couldn't think of just one. In general, just the friendships I've made have been amazing and best points of ever them. But I've had some funny times, especially in first year. I actually had a really positive halls of residence experience, which is sometimes quite rare. And we had some great memories there. And I think one of my favourite ones is, so there's a club in Newcastle called Wakiki, and you go on a Tuesday night and there's inflatables. I used to just go for the inflatables, and we used to collect them as a flat. And I remember one of my flatmates, he literally broke it. It was a very sad time, and we did a funeral for him, and we put it in a shoebox, and then like sent it away in the lift and went down. And we found it a few days later, like kicked onto like the 8th floor of our halls, and it was like Nemo. It's been kicked. So that's just a funny memory, but there's been so many.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Okay, I've got a question. This one's for Becky. So what is the best thing about being a student? What would you say is the best thing about being a student?
I think the best thing is just meeting so many different people. If I look at my uni friends now, like there is no way that I would have met them just staying at home. And I think that's really cool, just to meet different people who maybe you wouldn't meet normally or think different to you. And just challenge yourself a little bit in the way that you think with the people that you meet and surround yourself with.
Yeah, I love that. That's really good.
That is great.
How about you, Rico? What's the best thing about being a student for you?
Yeah, I agree with Becky actually, but for me, student discounts.
Student discount.
Gotta miss that.
Not wrong.
It's true. It is sad when it ends.
Student discounts. Where's the best place for student discounts?
Best place.
Where do you get the best discounts at?
I used to get 20% from Zara and food places as well. Yeah.
20% from Zara.
Nice.
That's pretty good. I need to borrow that off someone. Yeah.
That is a posh student shopping at Zara.
It's true.
But you know what you need to do is sign up for uni days, because uni days the discounts are real, and that's what I miss the most.
Yeah.
Is this the online one? Because I've heard there's like online Freshers Fair stuff where you can get all the free stuff you'd normally get at the physical Freshers Fairs, but online.
No way.
You can just log on and then get the freebies you normally get. You scoop up everything. You get your
Dan, you need to send me the link to that. That's my favourite thing about Freshers, even now as not a student, is just going to Freshers fairs and getting a million pens and mugs and tote bags. It's the dream.
You can't do that anymore. It's not okay anymore.
It sorts me out for the year. Got like tea bags, whatever else they give you.
The poor students just want a pen. There's one poor student somewhere that didn't get a pen because you took it.
You had it all.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It was worth it though. I don't regret it.
Okay, so talking about freebies, is there one thing that you really, really miss about being a first year student, a fresher? Okay, so Favour, do you want to answer first, and then Sophie, you can jump in.
Yeah. So I think the thing I miss the most about being a first year student is that you have a great potential in you that you've not yet explored, and you have the time and the space to explore your potential without feeling overwhelmed by the idea of making imminent career choices. Yeah. So just having that great opportunity to just like try what actually, makes you like explore, like answer questions or ask questions. And yeah.
That's a good answer.
That was so much more deep than mine. I miss not having the pressure from uni, because normally, obviously, your first year doesn't count, which is great. I mean, I still worked hard, but it's nice to go into an exam and realise that if you failed it, it's okay. Didn't fail any of them, praise the Lord. But like being able to, for the first time in so many years, to go into an exam and not have to feel worried that if you failed it, that you wouldn't be able to continue your education. That was a nice feeling. I'd like that back this year. I feel like they're going to be really mean to me this year.
To make up for it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, I've got the next question, and it is, well, it depends whether you have gone to church throughout your uni life. But if you did, how did you balance church and uni pressures, and maybe even job pressures if you had one of them as well? So I'm going to shoot that to Becky, and then Rico, you can jump in after her.
Sure. I went to Hope City during uni, so I did church and uni. I think balance is a funny word sometimes because it kind of changed as my priorities changed a bit as well. So like first year I had loads of time on my hands, third year not so much, but it's okay. So I managed to do both, which was good, and also like do societies and also like do all those fun things as well. But I think it's just a case of adapting to like your timetable at the time. So like in first year, I had loads of time for church and I had loads of time for societies, and it was great. And then third year, I kind of like had to do more at uni, but then still going to church. So it's just being adaptable, but just making sure you've got your values down. Like, I always want to make sure I'm going to church this amount of times, or always putting my career first, things like that. I think it's more on values rather than I'm going to spend this amount of time here and this amount of time there, if that makes sense.
It is, yeah. Yeah, Rico, how about you?
Great, yeah. For me, actually, like when I was my undergraduate, I was on and off church-wise. So I tried a few different church, and then I find a new one, and then go on a little church tour. But it wasn't actually until I did my master's in Liverpool that I actually found my faith in God. And that's when I decided, I put my God first. And so every Sunday I'd have to go back. I'd have to go and serve. Mm-hmm. And so that's just me, it's just Sunday is just dedicated for God to me. And the rest of the day, whatever I want to do.
Yeah. That's good.
And that ties in really well to our next question, really, because I know a lot of our students that are going to come might not have the church background. They're wondering, how do I encounter Jesus? And one thing that helps me a lot when I was, battling with my faith or thinking, how do I get a relationship with Jesus was hearing other people's stories. So how did you guys encounter God? How did you guys get saved? So I think we'll start with Sophie, and then we'll go to Favour.
So I grew up in a Christian home, so I got saved when I was very young. I was probably about 4 or 5 when I actually gave my life to God. And then, but I feel like you say that and it's like, oh, whatever. But I really encountered God when I was a teenager. Our youth group was very on fire for God. You know, it was quite cool, really. We were always the ministry team so we'd have conferences, and it'd be the youth group that would be praying for people. And
That's awesome.
I think for me, because I'm just that kind of person who would rather help someone or do something for someone than someone do something for me. So being able to go and pray for people and see healing through me was a great way for me to actually really have a solidified faith, and also just accountability as well. Having them friendships that are they're just as serious about your faith as you are. That is where your faith then strengthens, because you can have very honest chats about different stuff that goes on in the world, especially this day and age. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff that the church says that is very different to society. So have them discussions with people that are like-minded is how you keep in that faith as well, which I always think is a great way to do it.
Absolutely.
I was brought up in a Christian home. I was used to going to church every Sunday and being involved in activities during the week. And as a kid, I experienced God, and I said to myself, oh, I want to follow him, you know, for the rest of my days. I want to really be his friend. I want him to be my best friend. And although I had this fire burning as a kid, and I used to pray, and I would decide on my own, you know what, I want to fast away from things as a kid. That didn't prevent me from making mistakes as a teenager. And so as a teenager, I basically made myself other gods, like my image, my appearances, or what people think about me, or like my social life. And I felt convicted, you know, from that later on. And I think my parents were very important for me, you know, for this process, because even though I was back and forth, you know, psychologically, mentally, I struggled with several issues as a teenager. I think my parents were always there, and they were a pillar for me. And for me, the turning moment, it was there. I said to myself, you know what, I don't want to give God my 50% or my 60%. I want to give God my 100% and just live for him totally. Not live for him, okay, from Sunday to Friday or maybe some afternoons or some morning, but give God my all. And that was me was my turning moment. And it was there which I renewed 100% my covenant with God. And I said, you know what, God, I want to stick with you. I want to be your best friend. I want you to be my best friend. And I want to follow you for the rest of my days. And even if, you know, I made this commitment, that doesn't mean that every day is perfect. So I'm always still improving the way I see things, still improving the way I talk, still improving the way I communicate, you know, my beliefs to others. And for me, my relationship with God is just a perfection in progress, because I'm perfect in him, not because I am perfect. And in that perfection, I am being improved.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
That is cool. That is so inspiring to listen to. I could listen to you for ages, Favour. So sticking with you, Favour and Sophie, what if there's freshfield students who probably don't have such a strong relationship with God, or perhaps are quite new to faith and they're here at uni now, what sort of tips would you give to kind of help keep God at the center of your uni life? What tips have you got, maybe spiritual disciplines or anything that you do which might help students just really keep God at the center of everything? Staying with you, Favour, what would you say? What tips would you have?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My tip is to is to read the Bible, like
Nice.
which might sound very basic, but the truth. Like every day, I make sure I read my Bible. It's something I don't negotiate with. And when I read my Bible, I ask myself three things. Number one, what is the context of this chapter? Because like every book and every chapter has its own context, and I want to make sure I've understood the context. And sometimes this might require some further reading, but it is totally fine. The second question I ask myself is, okay, if I should summarize this chapter in a very short sentence, what would that sentence be? So this is for me, so it's to like understand, okay, what is the point of this chapter? And then the third question I ask myself is, what can I apply from this chapter today? And basically, whatever I draw, or like, and whatever I've learned, I want to apply that today. Like I want to be a different person today because of this particular chapter I've read. And I guess as a undergrad student, something I struggled with was what is God's will for me? Because when you want to put God in the center, then automatically you ask yourself, okay, so what should I do? Or what is God's will for me? And for me, like the answer came when I read First Thessalonians chapter 5, 16 to 18, which basically says, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. And I was like, wow, God's will for me is so easy. Like it's these three things. So basically rejoice always. So be happy, thank God, pray without ceasing. So pray every day, pray during the day, pray when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're angry, pray, and give thanks in all circumstances. And that is God's will for me. And, and by doing this, you're basically putting God in the center.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's so practical. That's really, really practical. How about you, Sophie? Have you got any tips, any practical wisdom?
So I think it's all about being intentional, because especially if you grow up in a Christian home and you come in and you just go to church because your parents go to church. If you're still wanting to continue that faith, you don't have your parents to get you up in the morning, and you don't have them to go, come on, are you going to read your Bible today? Are you going to do this today? You're on your own. So it's being intentional and putting that time aside. So I didn't really do this in first year, but in second year, I decided every day I'm going to go for a prayer walk, unless the weather was really, really bad. And then it was a house walk instead of being outside. But, putting that time aside, normally in the morning, and just going praying for the day, asking God to use me in that day, regardless of what I was doing, even if I was just going home and not going out that day or seeing anybody, always just putting him in the forefront of the day. Or if I didn't have time in the morning, say I had lectures, then on the night, thanking God for the day. And I think if you just make it put that intention on it, it becomes second nature in the end, because anything that you do will become habit. And if you're deliberately going out and doing that, you're deliberately going to church, it's just going to continue and increase, because the more you spend time with God, the more you want to do it, so I think it is just that intentionality. Is that a word? It is now, if it's not. And just putting him first, like Favour said, it's really making sure that he is first, in your mind, in your life, in your friendships, in everything. And with that, your relationship with him will then grow further.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so good. This is so helpful. And I think, just get people around you as well. So, find a church to get roots in. That's really important. Get your foundations down in a really, really good church, preferably ours, but a really, really good church. Get some good friends around you. Even if you're struggling to make friends, get someone on the phone weekly, once a week, who your good friends are back home. But just really surround yourself with really good wisdom. I think the Bible even says walk with the wise and you'll become wise, but that will come in so handy when things get tough at uni. Even CUs are really good as well. But there's so many things which will really, really help you to keeping God center. I don't think you've got our next question, have you?
Yeah, I have. So kind of on that, what do you do if there's ever a situation when you kind of do lose that fire or struggle with your faith in that way? So we're going to ask this to Becky and Rico. Have there ever been moments in your university life where you have struggled to keep your faith? Becky, do you want to go first? Sorry.
Gosh, yeah, I think there's always moments where like there's struggles and that we go through. I'm trying to think. I think maybe in first year when like you're just trying to find a church to settle into, that can be quite hard for a lot of people. Just trying to find like your community, and like Daniel was saying, like fellowship is so important. So I think my tip for that would be just make sure that you get some Christian friends. You know what, it doesn't matter like what church they go to or where they're from. Like I think just talking about God and the Bible together is like so important, even if it's on Zoom, because you know we're in the situation at the moment, but it still works. So yeah, I think just finding your community, your friends, then you just can't go too wrong, really.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important. Rico, how about you?
Yeah, for me actually, also just to stress the sense of community as well. I guess like whatever atmosphere that you put yourself into, it's kind of like what you sort of like try and fit into. Like if you try and go like away from church and then try and fit into different crowds, then you fit into that crowd. But sort of like it's your willingness to sort of put yourself in the center, put yourself where God is in God's house, in the church. And then like your surrounding just becomes like that community, the atmosphere that you want it to be. So I think like if you do try to go to church, like just stick with it. So like you just keep coming back, even though like if you're like, oh, what am I doing? Like especially when I was in my first year, I keep like being on and off, and I just keep telling myself like, Rico, why are you even walking into this place? Like by the time I didn't have this fire on me, I didn't have this faith on me. But as I grew and I find myself in that community and centered around that community, that fire, that faith becomes larger. And that's when you realize that that's where you belong. That's where you want to be. That's what you want to do. So I think like it's really, really important to build yourself that atmosphere first.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like when I went to uni, that was probably the first time I'd been around a lot of Christians who were my age. My church I went to was everyone was kind of like 75 plus, and we were the young family. And being around young Christians who I can actually be friends with and relate to on that peer level took my faith from like 0 to 130, because it just makes such a difference having people around you who can kind of check in on you in that way and who you can talk about things like that. It makes such a difference.
Yeah, you're totally right. And talking about community, also as a student, it's quite easy to get involved in the wrong community as well. And for a lot of them, this is the first time that they have moved away from home. So have there been moments in your university life where you've really felt the peer pressure to kind of get involved in things that you wouldn't normally, or be someone that you're not really? And how have you stuck to your guns and to your convictions? So I'll throw that question at Favor, and then Becky, you can jump in as well.
Oh yeah. I've had moments like that. During my first year of uni, but I would say most of my undergrad, I was most of the time the only Christian amongst my peer groups. Sometimes maybe there were some other Christians, but most of the times we were few Christians. And there was this particular moment in which I was at a dinner with a group of people, and basically what's happened is that then we started discussing Christianity and faith, and one of them told me something like Jesus or God do not exist, like God not exist and Jesus not exist. And so it was basically being backed up by all these people. And I told him, no, God exists. So he basically wanted me to compromise my belief and and basically say that, and he basically wanted me to basically say that God do not exist, like wanted to compromise belief. And he asked me to like demonstrate in scientific ways that Jesus Christ exists, God exists. And I told him I've experienced him, like God exists, Jesus exists. And then he asked me, okay, so demonstrate to me in a scientific manner that that God exists. And then I basically answered to him. I basically asked him, did you have a dream last night? He told me, yes, I had a dream last night. Then I asked him, okay, what is your dream? He told me his dream. And I asked him, demonstrate to me in a scientific manner that you had a dream. So for me, it was like I stuck to my gun by basically standing on my faith and by not being compromised by what people are doing. Because sometimes you can feel like so many people, like when you're around so many people believing one particular thing, like you might feel the pressure. So like, okay, let's go off your belief a little bit, or like ease up your belief. But for me, it was like, no, I believe this, and I'm standing on this. And then yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think maybe there wasn't one moment, but like throughout the whole of first year, you just live with whoever you get put with, right? So I kind of went in, and like my flatmates were into clubbing and drinking and every kind of normal thing for a lot of uni students. So for me, it was just like constantly being different, like constantly saying, oh, like I'm not gonna get drunk with you, or I'm not gonna go to that party, and just like always consistently like sticking to my faith, which I think I found harder just to keep on going almost, because everyone wants to be liked, you want to make friends. But I think it does help when you go in from the start. So I remember my tactic was to be like, oh, what societies are you joining? Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to join the Christian Union. I was like, yes, it's out there, it's done.
Right.
And then from there, it was kind of easier. And then just practically like knowing kind of, I don't know, your limits on alcohol, like things like that, things that might tempt you. Just being like really practical and just being honest with yourself as well, because like you're not here to please people, you're here to please God. And so just sticking to that. Yeah, you'll be all right.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you know what? I went on a year abroad in my uni years, and I remember all my housemates. I absolutely loved them to bits, but I remember thinking, gosh, they are so wild. Like all the drugs, all the alcohol, everything. And the first night they played Never Have I Ever. And obviously, me being Christian, I was like, I don't really do most of these things. So they're like, oh, Becca, you're not really drinking, you're not doing this. And I was like, oh, well, I'm actually Christian. And then the cat was out the bag the first night. But because of these conversations, and because, they saw me going to church a lot, or they saw my Christian friends, or they saw that I didn't really partake in a lot of things that they did, we actually had some really great conversations. And I think you can't underestimate the power of conviction, because people are really drawn to strong conviction, and they will open up. And you can have some awesome conversations with your flatmates about faith. And sometimes you don't even have to start it, right? They will come to you. From experience, my flatmates have come to me asking me questions about faith. They've come to church. Some of them even ended up getting saved. So I would really just recommend just standing firm on your convictions and what you believe, because you just never know what will happen off the back of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's so true, though, isn't it? Yeah, I think we kind of build up this image in our head of what people are going to perceive of us, and yet we get so surprised actually when it's so different to what we expect. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean everyone's going to be like so for it or singing Hosanna to you, but like it's like there are quite a lot of surprise reactions, isn't there? But no, I completely love that. I agree with it, and it comes back to being salt and light, doesn't it? I guess where like we can't be like there's no time better than now where we need like universities and that like we need light like us. So yeah, but last question, and this is going to be for everyone, all our students around the country. So if you had one bit of advice for our students and freshers, what would it be? And we're going to go back to Becky. Kick us off.
Oh no, you picked me first. One bit of advice. I think just know what your values are, and whatever you need to do to stick to those, that's completely okay. And make sure you've got your friends around you to help you with those values. That was 2 things for one.
No jokes. David, what is yours? What's your one piece of advice?
Oh, my piece of advice is don't be shy to say that you're a Christian. Like, say it with confidence. I'm a Christian. Oh, and if someone should ask you, oh, so how's the weekend? Say it like with confidence. Say it with confidence. Oh, I was at church Sunday. It was amazing. I had so much fun. Like it's like project to them what you actually feel about your faith. And sometimes, like, society wants you to feel quasi ashamed, of your faith, or to shy away. But like, be confident and yeah.
Yeah. It goes back to the next point, doesn't it? Just get it out there straight away. It's so much easier once you've just got out there straight away. When you have to linger, it's just so hard when you're like, oh, should I say now? No, I'm not. Should I say now? No. So easy to get out of the way. It's just so much easier. Sophie, what's your one piece of advice?
Be bold and be yourself. Your uni years are going to go so fast. You might not think it in your first week or when you don't know anybody, especially with coronavirus, if you can't meet people properly, but it's going to fly by. So be bold, go get stuck into a church. God's got a plan for you. And when you find the right church for you, there are lifelong friendships in them churches. There's experiences that you wouldn't get if you went bold. And just be yourself, because, us at Hope City, we're welcoming and we're ready to meet freshers and new students, and we want to know who you are. And it's the same with any church. We want to know you. So just come and be yourself and get stuck in.
My drop. Rico, what's your one piece of advice?
One piece of advice, I'd say, know your identity in Christ and know who Christ is, the all-powerful God that can do anything for you in your life.
Nice.
Excellent.
Becca, what's your one piece of advice?
Oh, I didn't expect this. My one piece of advice would be to have quiet times, because actually the Holy Spirit is living and active, and it's really important to develop a relationship with the Holy Spirit. And I think oftentimes as Christians, we forget about that part. We'll do all the things that we need to do, but without the Holy Spirit, you don't have the greatest advisor near you.
That's so true. Everything we do has to come from a place of overflow from a devotional time, from our quiet time. God's our source. So if we're not spending time with God as our source, then we're everything flows from that. So it's such a good piece of advice. Anna, of course, I'm going to come to you.
My piece of advice is to surround yourself with people who have the same values as you. So that doesn't mean don't be friends with non-Christians. Absolutely be friends with non-Christians, but also make sure you do have that group who you can go to with questions about God, who you can go to for prayer. I moved to Sheffield 6 years ago, and the friends I made in church there, I still speak to pretty much every day. They're still the first group I go to if I have problems. I think in church, you get to meet so many different people, different personalities, but when you all have the same values, it doesn't really matter if your personalities are different, so you can build a really solid friendship there. That's my advice. And Dubs, what is your advice?
Well, I'll probably say going back to just finding a good church, because uni can be quite a lonely time, and I think as freshers, especially when it's kind of like make friends, you have to make friends, and sometimes it's not as easy as that, as simple as that, and it can be quite lonely. So I think just really finding a church, and now's the best time when there's loads of stuff going on, and probably just that, I'd say, for sure.
Good. Oh, well, guys, thank you so much. It's been amazing to hear from you all. And I think, I have gotten so much insight from this. So I think students who are new to cities, new to student life, they're going to get a lot out of this as well. So we really appreciate your time tonight. And thank you for anyone that's been watching, that's been listening as well. You can connect with any of us. I think Dan's going to tell us a bit more about how you can get connected in with our church as well.
Yeah, it's been really, really good. So, well, tomorrow night, firstly, we've got our YA United service, which I don't think we've ever actually done before, but this is going to be really, really good fun. It's at 8 o'clock, and you can catch it on the main Hope City Church Instagram, so at Hope City Church. And we're just going to have a bit of worship, a bit of a message as well. And it's just going to be great to unite all the students together. As Hannah said earlier, like, it's just so encouraging when you realise that you're actually part of something much bigger, especially if you have come from a church where there aren't many other people your age as well. So really, really make sure you tune in for that 8 o'clock tomorrow on Instagram. And then wherever you are in the country, we've got Hope Cities up and down the country. Just tune into it, like, get connected with the Instagram pages as well. Liverpool, Sheffield, Newcastle, Sunderland, we've all got young adult pages to connect to where you can see what's coming up, what's going on, things to encourage you, things to help you. So really get stuck in with that. We've up in the Northeast, our Instagram tag is at YA Northeast. So if you if you just moved to Vatoon or to Sunderland, get stuck in with that. Becca, what's your one in Sheffield?
Yes, it's at Hope City Chef Young Adults. I know it's quite wordy, but
I'm glad
Chef
you went first, because ours is the same. It's at Hope City Live Young Adults, and it is a mouthful. That is right.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for participating. I feel enriched by all the knowledge shared tonight. Hope you have a good night, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.